Whoa, this is muddy. So, week 19, day 2. It's hard to believe I've been at this nearly 5 months. No running again today because of the blisters still haven't healed up, but they're getting there. And my job involves being on my feet, so I don't want to be in extra agony if I can avoid it. So yeah. So apologies for leaving it on a fairly down note yesterday. That's not very us, is it? I wouldn't say we're the most positive people in the world, but we are solutions oriented. So yes. So probably just a short video today because I'm kind of pushed for time. I've got about 3 hours and I'm sure you'd like to see the video at some point today rather than late at night. So just going out for a quick wander, keeping to the core principles of the Agodi. So yeah, so yesterday it was pretty down note. You know, I've seen, you know, I've seen the enemy and it is us type thing. Yeah. So, you know, like the enemy of, you know, saving the planet and a more utopian existence on it is, yeah, there's a lot of people in the way. It's so annoying. All these places with all the power necessary for us to basically live like as close to almost a Star Trek lifestyle as possible. You know, you've got countries that could do it easily, that choose not to. And I know there's a certain amount of colonialism in the concepts espoused in Star Trek, but you know, I want my fully automated gay space communism now. And yeah, you can teach people small things. And I was talking to Chipko over the festival about, I don't know how it came up, but the whole toxic masculinity thing, and that there is no pattern for being, you know, feeling masculine, if such a thing exists, you know, and feeling like, you know, you're a grown-up and competent and stuff without, you know, the attendant toxicity. So, you know, we probably need to redefine that. But I think there's a problem with, you know, the idea of like non-toxic masculinity just as a concept. It's like, you know, why isn't there a feeling you get when you're a functional human, whatever gender or orientation you are? Functional human, you know? Maybe we should start off with that. So yeah, so as it stands, and with the people that are currently running stuff, where, you know, the planet's kind of screwed, or it's imminently screwed unless people sort of wake up to themselves. You know, so we're getting into autumn. Look, all the acorns out and hazelnuts. If we pass a hazel tree, we'll probably see some. There are definitely some in the woods. So yeah, so we're at this weird stage where we could easily wipe ourselves out, and that would be depressing and annoying, all kinds of stuff. Let's go up to here. So yeah, it is pretty aggravating to be kind of stuck with it. There's all sorts of people working over there. So yeah, you know, this could all be loads better. You know, it's not like we don't have the resources. It's like the horrifying thing, you know, about poverty in the world is it's alleviated with just such tiny steps. And the things, those are hazelnuts. There must be a hazel tree near here, because that looks like it was taken out by squirrels. These are definitely early hazelnuts. Or stupid humans. Stupid humans could have done it. And there's an apple tree there. Look. That's nice. Wild apple tree. You can eat acorns, but you have to prepare them extremely well to get all the tannin out. So yeah, so we're in this odd place. You know, you can feed everybody that requires food in the world for like £175 million, which is terrifying, isn't it? You know, so for the cost of like 3 tanks, you can feed everybody that needs food. How long are those 3 tanks going to last against just like one equivalent priced attack helicopter? Yeah, sorry, the gimbal was off for some reason, I think. And it's wrestling with the power cable. I wonder if I can do that, make it better. Okay. So yeah, let's turn it around in fact. Whoop. Oh, look at that. That's what we're doing wrong. Okay, so yeah, so we can feed people for nothing, yet there are individuals on Earth with like 500 billion in the bank. I'm speaking to you, Mr. Bezos. Like 500 billion will generate, you know, about 2 or 3 billion per year in interest. So like he could just set up a fund where the interest is scooped off his gigantic fortune, or a little bit of it, like a tiny amount, like 1/7 of the interest from his personal wealth could just go. I mean, you just wouldn't even notice that kind of money, you know. That's the aggravating thing about it. There are individuals, there's a person in the world that could feed everybody and then probably plough the same amount again into micro infrastructure to make sure that those people could feed themselves. You know, he could just probably bribe officials in countries where, you know, hunger is an issue or education is an issue to push, you know, humanistic laws through their government. You know, oligarchs do it all the time. You know, if you're going to be an evil oligarch, you could just quietly, on the side, bribe the relevant officials and give them a huge chunk of money, increase their personal fortunes on the condition that certain laws go through. You'd probably buy the entire parliament of those countries so you get a unanimous vote. Or, you know, just 50% of them. In the remaining 50%, there's bound to be 1 or 2 people that aren't dicks and could see that, you know, infrastructure being freely installed in their country for like no outgoings, you know, could make things better. And if you've ever heard Christopher Hitchens speak on the subject, how you permanently raise a society out of poverty is empower women. You know, give them control over their reproductive systems, give them tiny amounts of money to start businesses and organise the economies of their local areas. It's just fuck, people. You know, so there are solutions out there. You know, the downside about the whole Rangers and urban agoge thing is none of us are in a position to make those sweeping changes. So my question is, are there 5, even 3, even 1 thing that you can do to make the world a better place just through your own efforts, just marginally? So I think, you know, if you look at the climate catastrophe that's upon us, and that's what it is, and we're all in a position where we can't do shit about it. And I'm sorry that I'm stumbling around in the woods and it's probably not making for good camera use, but it's quite kind of hard to step up or put any pressure on the heels. So, you know, I think definitely eating way less beef would be a start. You know, if you just said to yourself, right, I ain't eating beef. Oh, hazel tree. No, beech tree. There must be another hazel tree around here because I keep finding hazelnut. What's names? So yeah, eat less beef. You know, buy more stuff second hand. You know, just by buying something second hand, A, you save yourself quite a lot of money, and B, you're in a position where you're just something toxic just isn't going into landfill, and it's being used. It's the resources required to make it aren't going to waste. You know, what else could you do? You know, use less energy. You know, use less food, the transportation of food, the costs for transportation of goods. You know, I think 3D printing is fairly ecologically sound. Doesn't use a lot of power. What you're doing in a, you know, is using essentially cornstarch. So, you know, even if you do throw it away, it's pretty biodegradable. I mean, it doesn't just disappear into the ground. It takes a few years, but it will break down. It's essentially, PLA is essentially cornstarch, which is why I don't really want to print in ABS. I'd rather print something thicker and slightly heavier in PLA and have it last until I didn't need it anymore. So recycle stuff. You know, like directly recycle, because pretend recycling is largely bullshit. Oh, look at this. So yeah, you know, so that's 3 things. Eat less beef, recycle, upcycle, you know, print your own stuff. I don't know, you know, is there a, could there be a credo, not commandments, but, you know, some ideas? Don't waste food. Wasting food is just heinous. You know, I think in the last 3 months I've probably wasted a tub of yogurt. So a lot of this stuff needs to be sort of just out there, you know, like a 10-point plan, like the Black Panther 10-point plan for, you know, revolution. Things like housing, jobs, security, you know, neighbourhood elected police officers, stuff like that. You know. So yeah, you know, we need to do something. So we need to either do something directly where we push education of basic principles, you know, I don't know, where, I mean, we can all do stuff. I mean, we can all proselytize about stuff. It's not about giving people orders. But if you had just like we probably need like a bunch of ideas. You know, don't waste food, 3D print small G-jaws out of plastic rather than buying them and print them out of sustainable plastic. You know, I'm hoping that the technology to recycle PLA, grind it up and turn it into more filament is going to come about, but that's a little way off yet. There are machines that can do it, but they're, you know, more expensive than 3D printers themselves. So, you know, recycle, reuse, you know, these things are pretty obvious. Don't waste water. You know, so that, you know, so some basic positives, you know, this is what we could do to lessen our personal impact on the world. You know, if somebody comes up with an idea that's going to, you know, save a few lives, then go for it. You know, stop voting for white men. You know, just refuse. Just you imagine a worldwide setup where the world just stops voting for white men. Well, not the world, you know, the white portion of it, which is pretty small. But, you know, it's very depressing. So, you know, what we need in the comments is ideas. Maybe a credo that, you know, not necessarily that's binding, but, you know, things to bear in mind. You know. And I want to, God, it would be nice if there was some vegan cheese that didn't cost you an absolute arm and a leg. That was good. You know. Maybe also we need to, you know, our mission as rangers and Agoge subscribers is to secede from supplied services. So, you know, there's lots of ways you can do that. You know, generate a bit of your own power, sort out some kind of radio communication where you're not using the internet infrastructure, set up a couple of big USB sticks as libraries, you know, in Faraday cages and stuff like that. maybe we can secede from food a bit by growing a lot more of our own food ourselves, which is year two's project, to build a couple of robot greenhouses. That'd be nice, using recycled rainwater and recycled objects as planters. See, that would be good. So yeah, so where's it at? You know, what can we do? We need to look into that, otherwise we'll go bonkers. So yeah, and we're just about to face another general election in the UK. Like the third one in 5 years. It's crazy. This is all fixable stuff. I mean, wouldn't it be great if China, or it's a bit too complicated to do in America, but China kind of like, everybody's kind of legally on board with what the government wants to do, and the government could go, all right, we could do that. You know, have the best human rights record in the world, have the most sustainable economy in the world. You know, they really have, you know, this benevolent dictatorship power. You know, it's just been nice to have one, you know, one major country in the world. You know, a quarter of the Earth's population. It's up there with Christopher Hitchens' point yet again, when he said, when God appeared to the Israelites, it's like, well, why not go to China? They can already read. They could have written that shit down in a heartbeat. Which they've just had it going on for such a long time. So yeah, let's get solutions oriented. I know it's quite easy to get depressed when you look at it, and that makes you not look at it. So I know most of the people that watch this are already doing their thing as regards, you know, making the world a better place. You know, you being in better shape is a good start. Your environment being in better shape, being more organised, being less wasteful. You know, just it's that whole, we need to stop feeding the machines. You know, the paperwork AIs. How do we stop that? And I generally think growing your own food, having a 3D printer, producing things of value on it, you know, which is why you may have noticed I haven't printed any unusable objects. Everything's got a purpose, because you can print decorations and ornaments all the bloody time if you want. But yeah, it's bloody scary. I think that's what overwhelmed me. You know, you had some people at that festival who were really had their fingers on the button. They really understood what the problems of the world were, and they tried to address them big problem first. And basically said, look, you know, there's the energy companies and the huge giant mega corporations know that what they're doing is bad for the planet, and they just don't care. And they have a system of retrenchments where essentially they set a standpoint. People argue successfully in court after 5 years, but in that 5 years they've already prepared their next retrenchment point, where they go, oh yes, well, climate change is a thing, but you know, things I've heard recently, the CO2 is good for the trees. It's like, no. And you've got people setting fire to the Amazon rainforest and claiming it's an accident. You know, people basically trying to level that so they can grow more beef. You know, beef should become like fur. You know. So yeah, it's pretty depressing, really. I'm gonna have a sip. So yeah, so we need a credo. I don't propose to put that together for you today. Just shoot some ideas out there. You know, so how do you lessen your impact? Well, I think we already know how to do that, if we're honest with ourselves. You know, produce less waste, use less energy, generate some of your own energy because it's falling out of the sky. I think that's where people, where the power companies are really frightened, because I mean, if they're not going to do sustainable energy and we start doing it, then we don't really need their crap anymore. So yeah, I can understand that, you know, that they don't want to do that, but at the same time it's too late. They could have switched to green energy and we could not be in this situation. You know, coal power power stations, you know, they've allowed a certain amount of terror over, you know, thermal salt reactors and nuclear reaction in general, even though it's like essentially the safest sort of power there is. You know, smog is killing many thousand times more people every year than any amount of nuclear accidents will. It's just, you know, we as a species could be doing better. I think that's a given. And our reach as individuals ain't that far, but we do now have the internet. So, you know, and it's good internet. We can share ideas, we can download stuff, we can get hold of anything digital that we really want. So I think the librarian option is a good one. I think everybody that watches Rangers and everybody that watches Urban Agoge, they're kind of in the zone for that. So yeah, but it's complex. So I know that most of the people I know are more technical than me. Quite a lot of them are smarter than me. So let's hear the ideas. So what we're looking for is not, now you must change your life. What we're talking about is, I want to hear about tweaks. How can you tweak your life to make you a more efficient human being? So, you know, so if you're, say, watching your diet, you know, perhaps, you know, this is now getting on to the time where I need to do some cooking recipes that will feed people cheaply. How can you make sure that you're not wasting food? I hate food waste. It really bothers me. I think I've wasted 2 pots of yogurt in the last 2 months. Everything else has been eaten or consumed or is long-term stores. So yeah, we need options, basically. We need tweaks. We need things that are just an easy switch that we can put out to people. I think, you know, sort of need a bigger audience. Although, you know what I'd settle for? You know, someone with more of a reach, someone like PewDiePie or somebody with like billions of followers, just putting a thing on there is like, be a more efficient frigging human being. And these are the easy ways to do it. You know? Someone like Joe Rogan, or, you know, somebody with just more reach. You know, and then once you've got, a few million people converted to being less wasteful, you know, maybe then, you know, your Agoge mission is to pick up 1 carrier bag full of litter a week. And your post-Agoge mission is to find out how to stop people from dropping that litter in the first place. I know people are very depressed at the moment, don't see the point of being better humans. You know, and then maybe start boycotting super wasteful companies. Then maybe start, you know, getting our governments to re-examine their recycling. You know, you shouldn't ship your recycling to another country like they do in Canada. You know, it's not like Canada doesn't have the space or the resources to sort of figure something better out. You know, even if you just burn the paper in some kind of smelter that has, you know, really good filtration, and then they use the carbon from that to make, you know, sort of carbon sheeting or something. You know, we work out how to design a really, really, really cheap and affordable home. You know, that doesn't impact the environment, that grows its own food, that captures its own water, that generates its own power. How hard is that? You know, fair enough, it would probably be, the first, say, 10,000 of them would be reclaimed cargo containers. But really, you know, if you're solving the homeless problem and you're generating an income for those people, and you can reduce the amount that they cost the local councils or local authorities, why not? Why not do that? Why aren't we doing that? You know, why aren't we investing in smelters to sort of like take, you know, precious materials out of thrown away products? Why aren't we reclaiming materials and stuff that are now more expensive than they were when those things were made? It's just, yeah, so it is depressing. You know, maybe if we could build, you know, not the cargo container homes that are like 6 cargo containers on a plot of land in Chelsea and everybody thinks it's all avant-garde. Buy a plot of land, create that environment so that some of your food you're growing yourself. You know, so that you know, the whole roof is solar panels. At the end of each eave is a decent wind turbine that charges up good batteries so that there is no electricity bill, that uses, say, some kind of satellite internet. So there's no infrastructure that needs to go to that place, you know, apart from maybe water, which if you're collecting rainwater and you're using that as all your grey water and only your drinking water possibly is fresh water. So it can be delivered by Bowser if necessary, or pumped in. You know, somewhere where you could tie together the infrastructure so that you're collecting solar power all day. Some of that solar power goes into your batteries, some of it goes to the power company. The power company then has a deal with the water company and the and the internet company, so that you don't have any bills. And you don't have any bills because your roof is all solar panels and wind turbines, but it's independent in case there's a problem. You know, and it's, you know, the reason it's not like that, because those are perfectly reasonable examples that would end homelessness, would allow people to be trained to do useful stuff. We need to grow a lot more food in all of our countries. We need to jet in less stuff. We need to find a nutritional diet that uses a lot less meat, if any. You know, just switch down to eggs and non-dairy. You know, how do we make non-dairy cheese that can be made from things like hazelnut groves? So you put in like 50 tied cottages that don't consume any utilities almost, where they're on a farm that also grows a certain amount of potatoes, but the people have all got a little plot where they're growing their own fruit and veg and greenhouses and shit like that all year round, and they learn to do permaculture attached to other permaculture environments, which is their job. So, you know, like willow and hazel coppicing coupled with hazelnuts and things that you can make vegan food out of. You know, there's a lot of empty space in this country, and we probably need to nationalise the systems that put us in places. We need to downscale some of our expectations. But that's the problem, isn't it? You know, no generation likes to see an economic downturn where their children are worse off than they were when they were their age. The idea is that your children are better off with each successive generation. But if you see it in a non-materialistic way, those children have an intimate relationship with their life on the planet. Those children have no bills. Those children have secure jobs that will go on forever, because those, you know, it's the things that they're producing are not tied to businesses and market forces. It's like nationalized businesses, so that in the event of there being a problem, or in the event of us being cut off from trade, we're in a better position to just withstand it and go, oh, I haven't seen an avocado in a couple of years, but that's literally my first world problem issue with it. And there's enough space, and there's enough people, and there's enough, you know, invention and innovation in this country where we could just do it. And that's why I get, you know, yesterday was a bad video because it ended on a down note. The up note is, if that's an idea that you could broadly support, how much effort does it take to build that in a suburban environment? Okay, maybe there are two long-term projects for the Agoge. One is we step to the left of the grid and just say, right, don't need as much power. If the power does go out, I'm good. Where we experiment with highly localized power generation, highly localized food growing, and stuff like that. Then, you know, we need to expand the audience for this. and then say, right, do you want to see it? You know, can we buy a plot of land? Can we put 1 or 2 of these houses on it? You know, just one large cargo container, load of solar panels, water collection ability. You know, you put guttering all around the solar panels, and you have a deal where a Bowser 1,000 litres gets delivered, or, you know, every, I don't know, a month or something like that. And we, for science's sake, we managed to raise, I don't know, I think the top cost of something like that would be about 15k to do it and have it and basically do that. Now, if we could get it so that we had one person and there are enough subscribers to pay them a wage for tallying all this data for that sort of lifestyle, and we can maybe work out a way where that person could make a little money from merchandise or something like that, then, you know, could we not make it happen? Even if it's just for 1 or 2 people, or 3 or 4, maybe 5 or 6, maybe 100. You know, but I don't know how to, you know, perhaps there's someone out there that can help, where we can, you know, either create a new YouTube channel that will be picked up, or increase the audience for this one, increase the Patreon input, you know, and just make it happen. Where just 1 month everybody goes, look guys, we've got now, you know, 10,000 subscribers. If everybody throws in a £5 or a £10, that's £100,000 we can roll on, you know, Project Secession. And then, you know, maybe 6 months later, do it in another country. So, yeah, 1,000, 10,000 subscribers, expand that out and actually do it. We'll probably do that in a year. I don't know, you know. I'm just spitballing ideas here. But we are thin on the ground, so we need to figure out a broad appeal, you know, an easy step-by-step guide to being humans better. You know, human 2.0. You know, once we've dropped all the pre-programming and the survival programming that makes us do horrible things to each other. Maybe we could buy a couple of suburban houses that were off-griddable for a tiny amount of money. But yeah, unfortunately, it's not like there are any super wealthy viewers to this show. There's nobody sitting around with, you know, a giant amount of money anywhere. But yeah, and I think it would be better if it was crowdfunded in a kind of like, you know, 10,000 or 100,000 viewers that were all willing to put in £1 1 month. Put in £1, we'll produce it. You can have all the video, do what you want with it. You know, that person has to be able to support themselves, whoever does it. So yeah, so I think it's very much about be a more efficient human being for yourself. You know, stop feeding the monsters. You know, try and live more sustainably. Even if you're buying something, try and get it secondhand if you can. You know, take care of what you've got. You know, repurpose what you have if you're not going to use it anymore. Things like that. Get yourself fit, get yourself well nourished, get yourself mentally fit. We need, you know, I need to sort of put all this stuff down in a kind of handbook. You know, I mean, how does everybody out there feel about that? Would you be okay eating a lot less meat, eating beef maybe only once a week, and really enjoying that piece of beef rather than it just being ground up shite that's in your food? You know, how are you going to feel about upcycling more of your stuff? How are you going to feel about, you know, maybe generating your own power, your own heat from, you know, burning garbage or generating solar power? You know, if you had backup batteries in your house, how much does it cost to produce a 2-panel solar backup so you can power your laptop, or you can entertain yourself, or use the lights, or any of 100 other things, power a heater? You know, so I guess it's, you know, individually we can be better. You know, as a species we need to be better. So, you know, maybe we need a cadre of people that go, well, I do this, here are my bills. You need like some kind of stimulus. I don't know. answers on a postcard or a self-addressed envelope. You know, what do we put in the Church of Service / Urban Agoge / Rangers manual for living? And could we sell that? You know, could we fund better lifestyles out of designing better lifestyles? Yeah. So that's as positive as I can be this week. Thank you very much for watching. I appreciate it, and please like and subscribe and do all that if you're stumbling on it. You know, we are trying to work it out. Definitely being fitter, getting up earlier, being more dynamic, eating less meat, eating less bread, you know, getting your shit together is all fairly straightforward stuff. You know, but we're slowly getting back to normal. So, yeah. So I got to get back, I got to go to work, got to edit this and get it up to you. I'll be back soon. Thank you to everybody that helps support this channel. Thank you to everybody that's watching it. And yeah, let's see if I'm a bit more positive tomorrow with a bit more time. So, thanks for watching, and do take care.